Alright, we are live. Alright. So hello and welcome to the Cubs finals of the February online round. And the finalist teams for this round are C6,
We are
C6 and C1. With that, we'll start with the debate. In three, two, and one. First speaker aside proposition, please present.
Ladies and gentlemen, respected adjudicator, my fellow teammates, and
live.
of course, my more than worthy opponents. I, Shaurya Kapoor, the first speaker of the proposition team, stands firmly with the motion which states that this house believes that what we wear is a more honest reflection of ourselves than what we say. Before stating my arguments, I would first like to introduce the topic. So, I would like to reiterate the motion. This house believes that what we wear, the first key term, is a more honest reflection, second key term, of ourselves, third key term, than what we say, fourth key term. So, to start with what we wear, the clothing, accessories, and physical appearance, more emphasis on the word physical, including grooming, hairstyles, and etc., what we choose to present ourselves with. A more honest reflection means a more accurate, authentic, or truthful representation of who we actually are. Our true identity, personality, values, and inner thoughts, essentially who we are at our core beyond external roles or personas. Then the next key term and the last key term is then what we say, the verbal communication we engage in, the words and language we use to describe ourselves, our thoughts, our emotions. Now, before wasting any time, I would like to jump straight on to my principal arguments. Principal argument number one is non-verbal communication. Clothing and appearance are forms of non-verbal communication, and non-verbal cues are often believed to reveal more about us than words. Unlike verbal communication, which can be manipulated or influenced by the social expectations, what we wear tends to reflect a more honest personal choice. For instance, someone may wear a certain style or item of clothing because it aligns with their sense of self, even if the society or others may judge it is unconventional. My second principal argument is discrimination. According to the Guardian website, today 170 million, I would like to repeat, 170 million people cannot speak in the world. And if they can't speak, how will they express themselves? According to my opposition, I need an explanation why these hundreds and millions of people will be discriminated. My third principal argument is unconscious reflection of social and cultural identity. Fashion choices are often influenced by deeper, sometimes subconscious desires or beliefs. For example, choosing to wear vintage clothing might suggest a nostalgic connection to the past, or wearing eco friendly brands might indicate a commitment to sustainability. These elements of who we are to be communicated more honestly and unfiltered through our clothes than through words, which may be consciously influenced by external pressures, my dear opposition. For instance, in IPL, I think everyone knows about the team RCB. They wear a green jersey every time to have a message of environmental safety. My dear opposition, my fourth constructive is fashion can be a direct reflection of cultural heritage, personal history, and societal movements. For example, wearing traditional clothing can reflect a connection to one's roots, or wearing specific colors may symbolize political or social beliefs. Now, coming to the most important argument, which is fashion is a form of self expression. For example, a person might wear a band t-shirt to show their passion for music, or a rainbow colored outfit to show their solidarity with LGBTQ plus rights. These visual signs can express personal identity and beliefs more immediately and authentically than spoken words, which might be more abstract or vague. With my half done, I would like to pass on the duty to my second and third speakers. My second speaker will elaborate on my constructives, share his own opinion, and provide an alternative solution. My third speaker will be summarizing our speeches and deliver his speech with rebuttals against my opposition. Now, I would like to rest my case, believing that this motion should and will stand. Thank you, and have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you, speaker, for your wonderful speech. Now we give a minute to the next speaker in line.
It's fine. I don't need my minute. I can start.
All right. Do you need the timer?
Sure. I'll
All right.
start on the reverse countdown of three, two, one. Think about this. If clothes were the most honest reflection of who we are, then a nurse in scrubs would only be a nurse. A student in a uniform would only be a student. And a billionaire in jeans and a shirt would be just an ordinary guy. But we all know that's not true. What we wear is just a surface level detail. It doesn't show our struggles, dreams, or our personality. Good morning, my fellow debaters. I am the first speaker from the opposition team and I stand strongly against the motion. This house believes that what we wear is a more honest reflection of ourselves than what we say. People don't always dress to express who they are. Sometimes they dress for work rules, budget limits, cultural norms, or just comfort. Judging someone based on their clothing alone often leads to the wrong idea about them. Also, we are not stating that clothing is not a form of self expression. We are simply stating that words are a more honest reflection of ourselves because words define who we are. For example, if you see someone in a suit, you might assume they're wealthy and powerful. But what if they're just wearing it for a job interview, hoping to land their first real opportunity? A study from Princeton University found that people form judgments about others in just zero point 0.1 second based on appearance. But those judgments are often simply judgments and not reality. Actions and words show more than fabric ever could. Your clothes don't define your kindness, intelligence, or ambition. The way you treat others, the things you say, and the choices you make reveal who you really are. For example, imagine two people, one in designer clothes who is rude to waiters, and another in simple worn out clothes who helps a stranger in need. Who do you think is the better person? A Harvard study found that people determine trustworthiness 55% from verbal communication and only 7% from appearance. What you say and do matters way more than what you wear. And not everyone can afford to dress how they feel. Many people don't dress how they'd like to, not because they lack personality, but because they can't afford to or they have other priorities. Clothes aren't always a choice. Sometimes they're just a necessity. For example, a college student might wear the same outfits over and over, not because they lack style, but maybe they're saving money. Meanwhile, a millionaire may dress in casual clothes, but also might be the richest person in the room. And a World Bank report found that over 700 million people worldwide live in extreme poverty. For many, fashion is a privilege, not a form of expression. And now I'd like to conclude with a quote. Words are powerful. They can create or they can destroy. Use your words wisely. Thank you.
Thank you, speaker, for your wonderful speech. Now we give a minute to the next speaker in line. All right, 1 minute is over. Second speaker of side proposition, please present.
So I will begin in the self countdown of three, two, one. As the great Mark Twain once said, dear opponents, fashion speaks louder than even words. Good afternoon, dear adjudicator, more than worthy opponents and my fellow teammates. I am Navin Mehra, speaker 2 of proposition, here to tell you why this motion shall stand tall. Wasting no time, dear adjudicator, I would like to move straight to my principal argument. Principal argument number one is that clothing is an unfiltered expression, unlike speech, which can be rehearsed and be deceptive. Clothing is chosen instinctively. I repeat, clothing is chosen instinctively and reveals the genuine aspects of a person, not the deceiving aspects of a person. An example my opponents might want: someone who wears bright, unconventional outfits likely has a bold and creative personality, whereas a person who wears formal attire consistently, I repeat, consistently, dear opponents, might value discipline and professionalism. Dear opponents stated that people sometimes are being forced to wear something. Well, that is why the word consistently comes into place. Dear opponents, if I consistently wear bright colors, that means I am very creative and bold. And if I consistently, I repeat, consistently wear formal attire, then I value discipline. My second principal argument number two will be that first impression are formed on what? They are formed on appearance. Studies show that people form judgments within seconds. I repeat, within seconds on attire before even hearing someone speak. An example: job interviews. Before the interviewee even says anything, he is judged based on what he wears. It reflects who we are and what we believe in, here, opponents. Number three, fashion reflects culture and identity. Clothing often represents cultural heritage, religious beliefs, or social roles more honestly than words. Like when the Jains were creating peace and protecting themselves from the Germans, they started wearing white to symbolize that they don't want to fight, that they want peace, they want freedom. Another example, a person who is wearing traditional attire proudly showcases their roots, while spoken words might downplay or misrepresent their cultural connection. Dear opponents, you can say what you want, but if you've been wearing pajamas since 10 a.m., it just shows the other person that you've not been working. That's how first impressions are based on clothing rather than words. Now, I would like to state an example given from Times of India for my fourth principal argument. According to Samantha Herman, if you like wearing classic black and gray colored t-shirts consistently, you you are well groomed, you have a sharp personality, and you often come across someone who is sophisticated, mannered, and well organized in life. And this study was conducted. They gathered people, they divided them into groups, and after that they got to know and they came with this outcome. Now I would like to move on straight to my rebuttals. Dear opponents, speaker one stated that a rich man would be an ordinary guy because of the clothes that he wears, and that's not true. But dear opponents, according to Sprout social statistics site, yes, rich people do in fact more often than not wear ordinary clothing to not be so intimidating. And yes, dear opponents, you are what you wear. And my rebuttal number two is that you also stated people cannot wear what they feel like due to affordability. Dear adjudicator, I would like to introduce a new term into this house known as fast fashion. Dear opponents, would you happen to know the fact that today, if I feel like wearing a Captain America t shirt and I don't have that much money in my pocket, I can buy one for as low as 50 rupees? Would you happen to believe that? You might not, but people are selling stuff for less than 50 rupees. With that, I would like to rest my case, but never my stance. Thank
All right. We give a minute to the next speaker in line.
I need a minute. I can start now. Just one second.
Okay.
Yes, I'll start on a countdown of three, two, one. Good morning, fellow debaters. I'm the deputy leader of opposition, and I stand against the motion that this house believes that what we wear is a more honest reflection of ourselves than what we say. Our words are a direct reflection of our thoughts, beliefs, and intentions. We express our innermost feelings, opinions, and desires through language. which is a more specific and meaningful way to convey ourselves than what we wear. For example, someone might dress in a certain way to fit in or to project a certain image, but what they say, how they speak, what they discuss, their values reveals their true character and mindset. For example, a person may wear the latest trend but say something that contradicts their image entirely. Perhaps they're making a point about consumerism or choosing to dress in that way ironically. In this case, what they say is a much truer reflection of their actual identity than what they wear. Clothing is usually decided by the society. Most people dress up in a certain way due to societal pressure. Clothing is something which is open to interpretation and is not always a reliable or consistent signal of who we are. Two people could wear the same outfit but for completely different reasons, leading to very different interpretations of their identity. On the other hand, words are less ambiguous than what someone says, generally has a clearer and more direct meaning. Psychological studies show that clothes are often used as a social tool rather than an honest reflection of ourselves. We may dress to conform to expectations or even to hide our true feelings, while our words are more reflective of what's truly going on inside. A study by the University of Texas showed that verbal communication is 25% more reliable than judging people by their clothes, demonstrating that words provide a deeper and more consistent reflection of who we are compared to clothing. Fashion trends keep coming and going, but we always remain who we are, and clothing cannot define that. The proposition said, how will people who are mute express themselves? I would like to ask the proposition, have they heard the term sign language? And secondly, the opposition also mentioned that clothes are an honest reflection of ourselves. For example, on Diwali, if a person was to wear a swimming suit to truly express themselves. But of course, society says we must dress traditional on that day. The second speaker is encouraging the practice of judging people by their cover, or in this case, clothes, which is a very dangerous thing in modern day society. Therefore, this notion is just a myth and will remain a myth. I would like to end my speech with a statement. Clothing is often a mask, not a reflection. Thank you.
Thank you, speaker, for your wonderful speech. Now we give a minute to the next speaker in line.
Ma'am, can I begin right now?
Sure, for sure.
Okay, ma'am. I would like to start with my self countdown of 3, 2, 1. Your clothes, they speak before you do, telling the world who you are inside as a reflection to the outside. Greetings to the house at large. Today, I am Mera Speaker 3 of the proposition. I'm speaking for the motion. This house believes that what we wear is a more honest reflection of ourselves. Now, wasting no time before I speak my rebuttals, I would like to give a compendium of the speeches that my team has portrayed till now. Number one, clothing as a reflection of identity. What we wear influences how other people perceive us and impacts our own mood and behavior. Studies on enclothed cognition show that wearing formal clothes, for example, can increase confidence and cognitive performance, proving that clothing affects both identity and self-perception. The LGBTQ plus community and pride. Clothing such as rainbow flags, pride-themed attire is a powerful form of expression within the LGBTQ community, and they are portraying themselves as such, dear opponents. They are showing who they want to be, they are showing what they are, and they are showing what the world should think of them, dear opponents. Number three, cultural and political statements through fashion, dear opponents. Clothing has a long time has been used to make political and cultural statements, dear opponents. Movement like Black Lives Matter in the 1800s used to apparel to raise awareness of social issues, and fashion has been an effective form of protest
say aloud. Why? Because we are shy. We might not speak. We might speak false. Now, my opponents, they might talk about one major thing: uniforms. Uniforms serve practical purposes like equality and safety. But outside this context, clothing remains a key form of self expression. How? Because even within uniforms, personal touches like accessories, hairstyles allow for some individuality. It shows that even in the most strict regulations, there is diversity and there is uniqueness, dear opponents. Clothing often reflects our subconscious personality with choices like color, like style, and fit revealing aspects of our mood, confidence, and how we wish to be perceived, even without us realizing it, dear opponents. Now, furthermore, wasting no time, I would like to move on with my rebuttals. Speaker 1, dear opponent, a billionaire in jeans isn't an ordinary man, but it shows his personality is not flashy and he is a humble abode. If words are an honest reflection of ourselves, then you say the politicians who lie about their actions is a honesty? I'll give you the example of Kejriwal, who stated that he would fix everything, but he was arrested. Why? Because he laundered 1 lakh crore. I repeat, 1 lakh crore from the educational cess. Today, if you see a government school that does not have proper facilities, it is the fault of these politicians who lied to these people and stole this money. If a person like you stated went out and wore a suit for his interview, it shows that he cares about the job, dear opponents, and it dresses appropriately for an opportunity. It shows his mood, it shows his confidence, it shows his about him caring about the job, dear opponents. And if we consider your ideology, then a billionaire going to sleep wearing pajamas is an ordinary person. Speaker 2, someone will want to fit, and if they wear it, they show they are a clinging person or one who wants to fit in with people. It quite literally is their personality. And someone, as you stated, might wear something due to society or what does it show, dear opponents? That they are less unique and don't want to be the odd one out. They don't want to be left out. They are showing their personality if they are being under pressure due to society. And dear opponents, you said that words are honesty, true honesty. Then, dear opponents, what about scammers who call you and can siphon over 1,000 crores in India alone? My rebuttals made your speech into null and void. With the opposition proven wrong, I would like to rest my case, but never my stance. Thank you.
Now we give a minute to the last speaker of the house.
Ma'am, so will I get a 1 minute buffer time?
Yes, I've started your timer for 1 minute. Your 1 minute is over. Please present.
Okay. Ma'am, am I clearly audible and visible?
Just a second. Please speak again.
Am I clearly audible and visible?
Yes.
Okay. This house believes that what we wear is a more honest reflection of ourselves than what we say. Good morning, one and all. My name is Anaghasu Reginaya, and today I will be acting as the opposition whip, going strongly against this motion. Let me begin on the note where the proposition had ended. Clothes make the man. Does that mean naked people have no influence on society, as stated by the very same Mark Twain? The proposition says that fashion makes a greater statement than the words that you say. I disagree. Fashion can be expressive, but it is influenced by social expectations, economic conditions, and trends rather than honesty. Our words provide a deeper connection, depth, and context of clarity to our very own thoughts and beliefs. Let me summarize the points stated by my team members. One, words allow deeper expression. Can clothing convey complex ideas and emotions? No, a suit can give you a professional look, but one's words show their actual professionalism. Two, words provide context. Someone wearing black can be misunderstood to be mourning. However, words clarify the real cause behind this. Like Steve Jobs always wears a black turtleneck to show his minimalism, simplicity, and to save time. And how did we realize this? When he mentioned this in many of his speeches. Three, uniforms or attire, religion, this does not affect our actual personal identity. It just reflects societal pressure. And four, economic conditions, dress code, cultural expectations influence clothing choices. Words are accessible to all and is a true reflection of one's identity and values. The proposition has stated that we are being clearly inconsiderate to the 170 million people in the world who are deaf. However, on the very same grounds, answer me proposition, 43 million people are blind and they cannot see your sense of fashion. In fact, 249 million people in this world are visually impaired and once again cannot see your sense of fashion. 700 million people in this world are undergoing poverty and therefore they will not be able to dress in this extravagant manner. Does this mean that they do not have an honest reflection of themselves or a personality? According to the Harvard Business Review in 2019, 87% of respondents believe that direct communication through words helps in understanding a person's character, but not their clothing. Research shows that only the first impression depends on one's clothing, but only through conversing can you gain a deeper understanding of their personality. You only get misconceptions by their appearance, and this is why one's last impression is based on their words and not on their clothing. 60% of people are in poverty and will not be able to access this. Therefore, it depends on one's economic and social conditions and not just on the clothes that they have in their wardrobe. Words are cleaner and honest reflection of our inner self than an impromptu clothing choice. But a person who wears a formal dress is due to the dress code and not due to their personal preference. Our personality is multi-dimensional. Now, you have said that verbal communication is manipulated by social expression, but this applies to fashion more. If a person or a little girl who is just 5 shows up to a party in a rainbow frock, does that mean that they are supporting LGBTQ++ rights? No, they're simply expressing oneself. You have said that clothing shows one's character, and every student has the same uniform in the school. Does this mean that they all have the same character? Imagine a brilliant mathematician from rural Indian towns like Ramanujan. If we judged him based on his clothing and not the words that he had to say, would he have been a Nobel Prize laureate? Your speech allows for evaluation and self-expression, but what you wear is confined only to judgment. Your dress can be misinterpreted, but it can't speak up to correct this misconception. Therefore, we would like to stress on the fact that what we wear isn't an honest reflection of ourselves. Like Abraham Lincoln himself said, it's better to remain silent and be thought of as a fool rather than to open your mouth and remove all doubts. This clearly proves that irrespective of what you wear, you are a clear reflection of who you are. You yourself had said that politicians have lied in their speeches, but if clothes are a clear reflection of oneself, then why could you not realize that they were lying based on the white shirt and dhoti that they wore? I would like to conclude by saying, if you believe that fashion speaks louder than all words, let the United Nations General Assembly be conducted as a fashion show. In fact, let's decide the winner of this debate, not based on what we said. Let's all stop talking, get onto the ramp and decide the winner. Thank you. With this, I would like to rest my case, but not my stance.